today, now, before I continue, if you have been following us, you know that on asset litigation, we've been having series. Like, there's this topic we've been handling for some time right now, for some weeks, and it's about understanding the court system. Understanding the court system, how the court system works. And we've treated lower courts like magistrate courts, and we've treated another court like the state high court. So we'll continue today, and we'll be looking at the federal high court today. Yes, we're looking at the federal high court. What is the federal high court? I'm sure you would have heard when they say federal high court, federal high court, high court, federal high court, state high court. Is there any difference? Can I just walk into, okay fine, I don't want to go to the state high court, can I just walk into the federal high court to institute my case? What is the federal high court all about? Why is there a federal high court in the first place? Why can't there just be high courts? You understand? So we'll be briefly examining the federal high court today. Now, in understanding this, the federal high court, we'll be looking at some subtopics like the history. How was the high court? When was it established? What was it named before? Was it actually named the federal high court? And what else we need to know about the history? Then we'll look at why it was established. We'll look at the jurisdiction. We'll look at the territorial jurisdiction also, and location, and also the rules governing the high court and some other basic information we need to know about the high court and how it works. I remember saying some time ago when I was handling magistrate courts, I said that the system the system is more like components coming together to work together to form to create something. Like when we say a system comprises of components here and there, components coming together to create what we call a system. So when we say the court system, it means the federal high court is another component that makes up the court system. So it means you can't mention the court system in Nigeria without referencing the federal high court. Now, the federal high court was formerly known as the Federal Revenue Court. When it was established, it wasn't expressly known as the Federal High Court. It was known as the Federal Revenue Court, and that was in 1973. Yes, that was in 1973. So it was then called the Federal Revenue Court until 1979, when it was, can I say renamed or christened? No, let me use christened. And it was renamed the Federal High Court, and that was in 1979. So you can take note of that. It was formerly known as the Federal Revenue Court before it was changed to the Federal High Court. Why was the Federal High Court established? Why was the Federal High Court established? I mean, by then we had courts, we had high courts, we had the state high courts. So why was the Federal High Court established? The Federal High Court was established mainly for the determination of causes or cases or matters within the exclusive legislative list. Yes. Now, when we talk about the exclusive legislative list, that is the matters that are solely in the exclusive power of the federal government to handle. Now, permit me to make reference to the Constitution, which I have here. Yes, I have the Constitution here. And if we look at, you will see that in the Constitution, it's listed there. The matters in the exclusive list of the federal government. Give me a second. Just need a second here. I have it here with me. Okay. Just a second, and I'll be with you. Now, matters within the exclusive list of the federal government talks about those matters that the federal government exclusively handles. Nobody else shares that privilege, nobody else shares that responsibility, nobody else shares that duty, but solely the federal government. Now, I'll come back to that later on. So when we talk about the exclusive list, as in matters within the exclusive list of the federal government, we have matters like defenses, maritime, even in section 251 of the Constitution. Yes, section 251 of the Constitution, that's paragraph A to S. Paragraph A to S listed the matters that the federal government, the Federal High Court handles. It means that it is not all matters. It is not all matters that you can just bring within to the Federal High Court. The Federal High Court has its own exclusive jurisdiction to handle matters solely listed in section 251 of the 1999 Constitution. Now, let me list some of the matters. There. We have matters relating to the revenue of the government of the Federation, revenue matters related. We have anything relating to the National Assembly, State, the Federal High Court, National Assembly, like that. We have matters relating to copywriting, patent, designs, trademark, industrial designs. We have matters relating to diplomatic, consular and trade representation. We have matters relating to bankruptcy and insolvency. We have matters relating to citizenship, naturalization and aliens, deportation of persons. We have matters of aviation and safety of aircraft. We have matters on arms, ammunition, explosive. We have matters on drug, poison, mines and minerals, administration or the management of control of the federal government and its agencies. We have matters subject to the provisions of the Constitution, anything relating to the operation and interpretation of the Constitution. We have matters relating to company, CAC, Companies and Allied Matters Act. We have matters relating to taxation, customs, excise duties, exports. We have matters relating or pertaining to banking, financial institutions, matters like that, all listed in section 251, sub 1, paragraph A to S of the 1999 Constitution. So these are the matters under the exclusive jurisdiction of the Federal High Court. So when you have matters related to your banking issues, you have matters relating to taxation, you have matters relating to arms and ammunition, you have matters relating to copywriting, patents, designs, you can conveniently bring them before the Federal High Court. So, I said the Federal High Court was established for the determination of cases within the exclusive list. Now, these matters that I listed are also under the exclusive list of the exclusive legislative list. Then also, when we talk about the ones I just mentioned now are civil jurisdiction. That is the authority of the court to adjudicate on civil matters. Now, when it comes to criminal jurisdiction, the Constitution also provides for that. That's the same section 251, sub 2 and 3. Here it says, the Federal High Court shall have and exercise jurisdiction and power in respect of treason, treasonable felony, and allied offenses. So, and also paragraph 3, sub 3 says, the Federal High Court shall also have and exercise jurisdiction and powers in respect of criminal causes and matters in respect of jurisdiction is conferred by subsection 1 of the Constitution. So, matters, criminal matters relating to those that I mentioned earlier, when it comes to criminal matters, the Federal High Court also has jurisdiction. So these are the cases or the nature of cases the Federal High Court can establish. Now, note that you cannot see the Federal High Court everywhere. The Federal High Court is not like the magistrate court or the state high courts, where you get to see branches here and there. I mean, your magistrate court, for instance, if you walk a little mile, you will see a magistrate court, you see magistrate court here, you see magistrate court here. Everywhere you go, you will see magistrate court. I mean, for easy access to justice. But for the federal high courts, we only have one federal high court, and the federal high court we have is in Abuja, and that is the headquarters. The federal high court, we just have one federal high court, and that is in Abuja. However, because of the number of cases and the need for justice to prevail, the need for people to be heard, we now have judicial divisions of federal high courts in every state. Now, when I mean judicial division, I mean there are now located federal high courts in every state. So we have Federal High Court Lagos, Federal High Court Kano, Federal High Court Kaduna, Federal High Court Benin, Federal High Court Abakaliki, Federal High Court Lokoja, Federal High Court Maiduguri, Federal High Court Port Harcourt, Federal High Court Sokoto. Just one federal high court like that, one federal high court. So that is the way we have it. But the federal high court, the headquarters is located in Abuja. But for administrative conveniences, the court has been divided into judicial divisions in various states of the federation. So for easy access, and now just imagine if there was no federal high court in Lagos, or there was no federal high court and it was just one federal high court that we have. And I want to institute a matter maybe relating to arms and ammunitions, and I'm staying in Lagos. Imagine me going to Abuja just to get my case heard. It actually affects the justice, because first of all, I might be reluctant, like, will I go to Abuja to go and institute my matter? But if we have a federal high court in Lagos, as we do right now, I can just walk up to the federal high court and file my case, file my suit, and it will be heard. So I've talked about the history, what it was formerly called before it was changed to the Federal High Court. I've talked about why it was established. It was established for the determination of cases, for administrative convenience, and for justice to prevail. Of course, we need that. Then I've talked about the jurisdiction, where we see the powers of the Federal High Court in section 251, sub 1, A to S, and sub 2 and sub 3 of the 1999 Constitution. And also note that the Federal High Court has concurrent jurisdiction with the High Court, with the State High Court also. So it means some of these matters can actually go to the High Court. I mean, when you say they share concurrent jurisdiction, it means as regards this matter, they share concurrent powers. So Federal High Court can handle it, also the State High Court can handle such matter, especially in respect to the fundamental rights. Yes. So they share concurrent jurisdiction when it comes to matters relating to fundamental rights. Now, the Federal High Court, just like every other court also, the Federal High Court is bounded by its own rules of court. The rules of court is what bounds a court so that to prevent abuse of court process, wasting the time of the court, bringing vexatious suits like that. So we have the rules of court that binds every court. And this is not, and like the Federal High Court is not excluded. The Federal High Court has its own rules of court that binds it. It's called the Federal High Court Civil Procedural Rules 2019. But the beauty of this rule is that it has been, the rule was actually 2000, but it has been reenacted, and with the innovation of, let me put it this way, with the innovation of an ICT-driven justice system. So it means the rules of court actually accommodate the use of technology, technological advancements, the way the world is going now, the way every other part of the world is right now. Technological advancement is on the rise. So these rules of court, the Federal High Court rules, is with the innovation of an ICT-driven justice system. I've said that the Federal High Court is located in Abuja as the headquarters, but we have various judicial divisions for administrative purpose. Lastly, you should know that the Federal High Court is presided by the Chief Judge. Yes, the Chief Judge. When it was still called the Federal Revenue Court, we said it was headed by the President. But now, with the person that presides over the High Court is called the Chief Judge. So that will be all about the Federal High Court. That will be all about the Federal High Court, and it's good we know these things so that we know how to file our case. When you hear the Federal High Court, the State High Court, the Magistrates Court, the Customary Court, so you don't get confused that my so I can just walk up into any court and just file. No, there is a reason why there is hierarchy in the court system. Imagine having a case and you're walking to the Supreme Court. Imagine, you're having a case and you just walk up to the Supreme Court. Before the case gets to the Supreme Court, it means it must have come from either as low as the Magistrates Court said. Magistrates Court, you're not pleased with the judgments, you appeal to the High Court. You're not pleased with the judgments, you appeal to the Court of Appeal. You're not pleased with the judgments, then it gets to the Supreme Court. And we know the Supreme Court is the final bus stop. Final bus stop. So that will be all. In the next session, we'll be looking at the Court of Appeal. Yes, the Court of Appeal, where my colleague will be handling the Court of Appeal. So if you have any question, you can drop your questions. If you have any contribution, maybe you have a story to share, or there's something you want us to know, or there's something you're not so clear about, you can drop your questions. Do like and share and comment, and keep it a days with us as we bring you more topics on legal literacy, knowing the law and how to apply it. They said ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Yes, so you just have to know the law, and that's why we are here for you. We are here for you to know the law, to know the legal world, the legal field, the legal aspects, and everything that has to do with it. So same time next week, keep a date with us. My name is Oluwatosin Isaac, and bye for now.